everyone. We'll get started here. Welcome to VGM's webinar on, well, it's Immersus's webinar on evidence-based competitive differentiation and outcomes-based mattresses and seating. My name is Heather Traum. I'm the Director of Wound Care here at VGM, and I'll be serving as your moderator today. We are really super excited to have James Hadlin sharing his knowledge with us today, along with Brian Pavlin and Matt Corkin from Immersus. And if you guys want to just introduce yourselves a little bit,
Sure.
I'll let you do that. Go ahead.
Great. Well, good morning. My name is Brian Pavlin. First of all, thank you all for being here today. And I'd like to thank you for your interest in Immersus Health products. Over the last 14 years, Immersus has designed and manufactured high quality, clinically advanced mattress and mobility seating products. These are very unique products made here in the USA. And from many of our customers, they've really shown to increase cash flow and insurance sales while raising the quality and competitive advantage. And most importantly, really the patient care standards. That's really what really our company is about, is really helping improve quality of products and the patient care standards. So today, more than ever, we feel it's important for medical equipment providers to differentiate their companies in the HME marketplace, really stand out in your marketplace. Immersus mattress and seating, it's just different, and we can really help you achieve that value-based solution. So this is James Hadlin. James is our Chief Operating Officer, also Vice President, and James is a registered nurse and very well versed in the support surface industry, well over 25, 30 years doing that. This is our sales team. We have a national sales team led by Matt Corkin, and Matt is on the call today, and we have different people for different areas, and we will be reaching out to you if that's okay, or you can reach out to us. Matt handles west of the Mississippi. Jim Long does as well. Everybody else is Midwest and then east of the Mississippi. Catherine is our transactional person. So if you have any questions as far as when did it ship, or what pricing do we have, Kat can handle that. James Hadlin. His focus is mainly on the product specs. He's a real expert in that, and so any of the product specific spec questions that you have or what have you, James can handle that. As far as the territory goes, if you have interest in our company, please contact me, Brian Pavlin, and I can definitely help you. But we're just so excited to be here today, and thank you, Heather, and thank you, VGM. And James, I'll let you take it from here. And thank you.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. It's good to see you here, and we hope that you'll get something useful from this presentation. So as Brian said, we really focus on mattresses and seating. This is what we do, and what you see in front of you there, that's our product line. We're very focused in what we do. And what really sets us apart from other manufacturers and differentiates us is the fact that the basis of our business is really evidence-based product designs. And we're going to talk about that throughout the presentation here, and what that means to you, what that means to us, and where that can really benefit you, your business, and also your customers as well. So how do our products fit with your individual market segment focus? Well, I think it's safe to say that, a lot of you are dealing with home care, you're doing products with Medicare reimbursement, you're renting products into nursing homes, maybe you've got a storefront, maybe you're selling online as well for consumer medical sales. Maybe you're focused on wound care, negative pressure wound therapy, etc. Maybe you're doing hospice rentals or complex rehab, or maybe you're even selling into acute care areas as well. But it doesn't really matter where you're selling. We've got products which are going to help to meet the needs of your customers. And those market segment needs are really driven by demographics to a large extent, but also just changes in the way that healthcare providers are thinking about how they deliver care and what's really important to them when they do deliver that care. And obviously, outcomes are really important. They really matter. And so what we've got is a range of products that can help to meet those market segment needs. They're very synergistic with everything that you're doing, and they bring value added solutions to those customers' needs. Our products are clinician designed. When we first started designing our products about 11 years ago, we did that because we were in the same kind of business that you are. We were in a rental type situation where we were renting products out to different healthcare segments. And a lot of the feedback that we got from our customers was that those products didn't really meet the needs of the patients in terms of safety, fall prevention, wound prevention, comfort, a whole slew of complaints really about product that was just standard product off the shelf that we could acquire at that time. And when we went to the marketplace and looked for better products, what we realized was there really wasn't a lot of stuff out there that was well designed or well thought out in terms of the product designs. A lot of them, unfortunately, had been manufactured for that very low end of the market, the Medicare reimbursement end of the market. And because Medicare reimbursement tends to be so low, it means that manufacturers have to make a product which is low cost in the first place in order to sell that to a dealer and give everybody a chance to make a margin when they provide that to the Medicare recipient. And for that reason, they choose lower quality materials, and the product just doesn't have any longevity to it, and it really doesn't have the kind of product performance and clinical performance that you really need to see when you're placing products into those market segments. So what we did was we got all that clinical input from nurses, doctors, OTs, PTs, customers who had those suggestions for how we might go about making what constitutes a good mattress solution and a good seating solution. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. But one of the things about this webinar is we want to give you an insight into evidence-based product and how that can give you that competitive differentiation with outcomes-based products. So what is value-based purchasing? We hear a lot about value-based purchasing, and what we're seeing in the markets that we serve is a movement away from lowest product cost over to buying products which are really going to do the job that they set out to do in the first place. So value-based purchasing is really about just considering the product, not just in terms of its cost, but overall in terms of how it performs for the patient, for the end user. Does it do things like increasing end user satisfaction? Does it create positive outcomes when it's used in a clinical setting, whatever that setting is? Does it help to reduce complications? These are things which are very important to care providers now because they want to make sure they've got good outcomes, right? A lot of healthcare facilities are being audited to see what the outcomes are for each of the patients that go through their system. So everything's documented these days. So we want to try and avoid things like falls, things like pressure ulcers or pressure wounds from starting in the first place, sentinel events where people hurt themselves, and transportable falls where they've got to go to from a nursing home to an acute care facility. All those things not only are getting registered and documented, but they're also costing those facilities a lot of money as well. But it's very important that the products that we choose are evaluated carefully by the people who are purchasing them. And I think this is one of the opportunities that you've got really to go to your customers and say, look, we've got a range of evidence-based, well-designed products which are higher quality, which we have evidence for to show that they're really going to do the jobs that they say they're going to do. This is a better choice for you as you make an informed decision about moving more towards this value-based purchasing model. These are the kind of products that you will want to consider. And it's also very important that when they consider the product, or when you consider a product to go with one of your patients that you're serving, let's say you're doing negative pressure wound care, and you also are going to make a recommendation to the customer that they provide a better mattress or a better seat cushion for that patient, so you don't undo a lot of the good work that you're doing with the negative pressure wound therapy. it's very important to consider current and future care requirements. So is that patient getting better? Are they getting worse? Are they moving more towards reduced mobility? If they are, obviously that's going to create a lot of issues associated with reduced mobility. Have they got cardiac or respiratory issues? If you guys are doing a lot of respiratory business, all of the patients that you're serving are going to have some mobility issues because of their respiratory condition. And when people have those mobility issues, that's a time when they are obviously susceptible to getting pressure wounds forming when they're sitting or laying in the bed or sitting in a chair for a long period of time. And then a lot of you I know are serving the hospice market as well. That's something which we have done directly in the past with a different company. And obviously, end-of-life patients have a very different and special set of needs as they go towards their last days. And the products that we're going to talk about today can really help to address those needs and provide you with a solution that is unlike anything else there on the market and is very suitable for those types of customers. So product performance is very important and how it can actually create those better outcomes. And obviously when we look at products, we want to be looking at things like real life outcome studies and not just in-house white papers and marketing materials that a lot of manufacturers put together to promote their products. A lot of those studies and things that they'll do in-house are done on healthy individuals. That's not really representative of how the product might work in real life. And one of the reasons why this is important is because there's now more of a mandated movement towards value-based purchasing in a lot of healthcare environments that you're serving today. And that's all associated with trying to raise standards of care and obviously head off any problems before they happen. So what is outcomes-based or evidence-based care? Well, outcomes and evidence-based care is the idea that the product that you're providing or the actual medical attention that you're giving to the patient is going to have the right outcome and be based on scientific evidence. So in other words, it's kind of like saying, well, if you have somebody who's admitted into the emergency room with high blood pressure, you wouldn't give them a homeopathic treatment hoping that it might work. You're going to give them something which is a documented drug therapy that has some evidence to show that it really does work to bring their BP down. It's the same thing with other types of equipment. And while it's not perhaps quite as acutely important, it is important to choose products that are really going to have a scientific basis to whether they work or not. A lot of the products that are being used out there for seating and for mattresses are what we call class 1 products. They're classified by the FDA as class 1 products. So they're actually deemed to be low risk products. And as such, a lot of the designs have been kind of shoddy over the years and haven't really paid a lot of detail towards what's really needed for the patient. But this is an opportunity to move away from that and give the patient something which is a lot better, has been designed specifically to hit key problems that they might have, and just provide a better standard of care. Now, we also, when we designed our mattress and seating, originally, we did a real-life patient, multi-patient clinical outcome study with 44 patients for the mattress and 33 for our seating design. And that's really important because you really do want to have about a minimum of 20 patients to be considered to have a relevant study. And the reason why you don't just want to do sort of single patient testimonials and anecdotal studies is because there are no controls for that. When you have a multi-patient clinical outcome study published, there have to be controls. There has to be peer review. All of those processes have to take place to make sure that it's a valid study and it's been done scientifically. So when you have evidence-based product, you know that you can believe what's being said about the product. And it really is an absolute indicator of product quality, efficacy, and the expected performance and suitability that you can expect from that product. Obviously, we hear a lot about fake news, and we have to be very careful that what we're reading about a product isn't just a list of items which we want the product to do, but that they will actually be taken care of and the product will do. And obviously, outcomes have also financial ramifications for the care provider as well. It's not just about trying to get the lowest possible cost for a product, but it's about buying a product which is going to enable them to generate the maximum amount of revenue and do the job that they need to do. So I'll give you an example. The gentleman that you see there on the right, his name is also James. He was involved in a car accident some years ago, and as a result, he needed a total hip replacement. So he went into the hospital, he had that, he went into a rehab facility afterwards, and at the rehab facility, he had a lot of pain, and he had so much pain when he was sitting, he wasn't able to sit in the chair for very long. He had to kind of stay in the bed a lot. And because of that, he was at the point where he wasn't being able to be rehabbed like he should have been. And he got ready right up to the point where he was going to discharge himself and just go home because he felt like he wasn't getting any better. That was a bad scenario for the care facility because number one, obviously it affects their ratings. They didn't get a good outcome. But number two, as well, it meant that they wouldn't be able to hold on to that patient and see him through their care process, which would also maximize the amount of revenue that they would get from charging the health insurance company. So what happened was, in that instance, one of our sales reps was in the account, and they happened to hear this gentleman complaining about his pain level, and they suggested that he try our evidence-based seating. He's there in one of our Posturemate seating systems, and as a result of that, his pain level decreased. He was able to sit with better posture in a more upright position. And all of that was because of the scientific design of the product. It wasn't such a risk for the facility to buy that because we had evidence-based design, right there for them to see. And what it meant was that James was then able to finish his treatment, go through that process of being rehabbed completely. And of course, they were able to cap out on their revenue because of that. So you can see there, it's not just about this old-fashioned notion of lowest possible cost, but moving towards this value-based purchasing with evidence-based products is really quite essential. So why is it really important? Obviously, outcomes, to recap, outcomes-based care and value-based purchasing of clinically validated products is increasingly important in all healthcare market segments. It's not just rehab. Healthcare facilities and delivery organizations can require evidence-based products to be included in care decision algorithms and patient care product selection protocols. And we're seeing that more and more now, where they're saying, look, we don't just want to choose a product which is the lowest possible cost. We want to choose something which is relevant for this patient. And if you take on board what we're saying today and you start to think about when you provide products to Medicare recipients or to a nursing home when you're renting products in there, we can help you with these group 1 and group 2 product promotions so that you're putting surfaces and cushions in there that can increase your profitability. And we'll talk about that in another section here in just a little bit. But what this helps to do is it helps to give you that competitive differentiation. And that's important because these days there are very large suppliers of, general product, also around devices, which everybody can get. And as a result, everything becomes very vanilla. And if you want to really stand out there in the market and get that differentiation, having outcomes-based products is really going to help you to do that. It's going to give you that differentiation. And that's what this webinar is really all about. If there's any takeaway that you get from this today, it's to go and find out more about outcomes-based products and getting that competitive differentiation in that way, instead of going on with products which really don't have that kind of evidence behind them. Any questions so far before I move on to some product specifics?
We're good. Thank you.
Okay. So how and why do our products fit into this model? Well, outcomes-based mattresses and seating, as I said, are going to be your competitive advantage. So let's focus in on mattresses first of all. When we came to the market with our own mattress solution, as I said, it was a result of getting that feedback, that voice of customer from the people that we served with just the basic product we could get in the marketplace. And they said to us, look, we want something that does a lot more than just keeping the patient off the bed frame. We want something which is going to help with comfort, help with positioning, prevent falling, prevent rolling out of bed, help with preventing and trying to heal any existing wounds as well. And so because we were able to go to the drawing board and start from scratch, this is the design that we came up with. Now, as you can see here in this exploded diagram, this isn't just your standard foam mattress. This is a much more complicated product. And the materials that we were able to choose, because we didn't really design this for Medicare reimbursement as a Group 1 product, the materials we were able to choose are much higher quality. They're much higher quality foams, they're much higher quality fabrics, and as a result of that, we're able to give a lot longer warranty on the product, in fact, 7 years on our mattress. Now, the design itself is in 3 sections from the head all the way down to the foot, and also in 3 layers from the top ergonomically designed CNC cut topper all the way down through the midsection to the base. And in section 1, what that does is it helps to keep the patient centered into the bed. Now, if you think about when patients are in a bed using a mattress, most of the time they're not laying flat. Most of the time, the head of the bed is going to be raised somewhat, sometimes quite high if they've got respiratory conditions. But obviously, even just a little bit, what's happening is you're starting to transfer the weight of the patient off of their back onto their ischials and their coccyx, areas which are bony prominences that can break down very, very easily. So what we did was we designed that topper that you see there in that diagram so that it would be ergonomically designed to provide more immersion down in that coccyx ischial area where the weight's being transferred to try and create a greater surface area to volume ratio and a lower pressure. Then underneath that, you'll see in that center section, we've got what we call the T-zone. Now, the T-zone is actually a patented design that we have with our mattress that has areas of softer and firmer foam. So it's actually an ergonomic offloading design. What does that mean? It means that as you sink down through that topper, you get to that T-zone area and the weight on the ischials and the coccyx is actually transferred onto areas of the body that can just take it for longer periods of time, like the lateral aspects of the back or the long bones of the thighs. So it's kind of like having a seat cushion built into the mattress itself. So it's redistributing that pressure and reducing the pressure underneath those bony prominences. So whether you're sitting in the bed or laying flat or side lying, it's still going to do the same job. That T-zone is in those critical anatomical areas to do that job. And then section 3, down at the foot end of the bed, well, we've got an angled end to the mattress, which you see on a lot of mattresses out there, but the way that we do it is much more ergonomic. What we do is we actually cut an angle onto the center piece of foam, and then we flow that kind of chocolate bar looking foam over the top of it. That chocolate bar CNC cut is a piece of foam which is what we call a pillow grade foam. So it's very, very soft. And what happens is because we're chopping it up so much, we're deforming it to the point where when there's weight applied to it, the ankle and the heel can actually sink right down into that foam. And as we do that, as you can see from the inset photograph there, the heel starts to sink down and it transfers the weight of the patient's leg, their lower limb, onto the calf. And of course, the calf has more tissue there, more meat on the bone, if you like, and it can take that pressure, excuse me, for longer periods, excuse me, for longer periods of time. So by doing that, what that means is you don't need all those adjunctive devices like some sort of boot to go on the foot or something like that, which, as you know, oftentimes can end up as a more like a knee pad as it moves its way up the leg, or it can be a trip hazard if the patient is confused and they're trying to get out of the bed by themselves. So we really try to address posture, correct positioning, ergonomic offloading, all with the intent of allowing an environment where you could prevent wounds, but also give wounds a chance to heal if there are any that are existing as well. And then, as you see, we actually put these two edges onto the mattresses, one on each side. And this is an ergonomic design as well. It's basically a very, very firm piece of foam on each side. It's not a raised perimeter. But what this does is it helps to center the patient into the bed and act kind of like a passive reminder that they're maybe rolling near to the edge of the bed. But you know, when we put that study group together with nurses, doctors, OTs, PTs, clinicians who we talked to about why patients fall out of the bed, they said to us, you've got it all wrong. Manufacturers have got it all wrong. Patients do not roll out of the bed. They fall out of the bed when they're actively trying to get out of the bed unassisted. And we find them on the floor, and a lot of times we think they rolled out of the bed when in fact they were getting up to go to the bathroom or getting up to sit in the chair, or maybe they were just confused and thought it was time to get up anyway. So it's very important that we try to create a safer way for them to enter and exit the bed. That's what this edge does. It actually provides a stable seat underneath the patient so that when they swing their legs out of the bed and they sit there on the edge of the bed, they can get their sitting balance before they get their standing balance. And if you can get their sitting balance first, and they can get their nose in front of their knees, as all the OTs will tell you, and PTs, when they go to stand, they're not going to have gravity taking them over to one side. They won't be leaning to one side or the other. Because even if you've got a walking frame, if you're leaning to one side, when you get up, you can start to fall as gravity takes you that direction. And now that's obviously something which is very prevalent in these lower cost group 1 mattresses, whereby you've got very soft foams on the edge of the mattress. The whole mattress side can give way in some cases. Or if you've got something like a low Elos mattress or so forth, the edges of those can sometimes be very soft as well, and you slide off that thing like an evacuation ramp out of a plane. So that we don't obviously want that to happen, and we've seen instances where patients get bad head injuries or fractured neck of femur or things that can be potentially life-threatening when that happens. So that's why we put those sides on, and then we encapsulated all of that in a very, very high performance fabric. We were able to choose a really high performing fabric because we weren't really, sort of restrained, if you will, or constrained by the design spec in terms of trying to make this inexpensive. We didn't have to go with a ripstop nylon. We were able to go with a really high-end TPU 4-way stretch fabric, which is vapor permeable, but completely moisture proof as well. So no fluid, no incontinence fluids, anything, tea, coffee, doesn't matter, can't get through into the core of the mattress, which is so important. And then we built special flaps over the zipper so that any fluids that get onto the product will run off. They won't go inside the mattress. And a very, very rugged base so that this is actually a fantastic rental product. It's really built. It's kind of like the DeWalt tools of mattresses, we like to think of it. It's kind of built to withstand the rigors of everyday ins and outs of rental, which for those of you who do that, you know what it's like. Mattresses get chucked in the back of trucks. They get rubbed up against sharp parts of other devices like wheelchairs, etc., pulled along the floor in the establishments. These things have to be a real workhorse product when they're out there in the field for rental, and that's what the Immersus mattress really gives you. Now, obviously, when we had designed this, we took it back to our customers. They said to us, well, how do we know this is really going to work? Well, we said, well, we've covered all the issues you talked about, but we realized that we really needed to prove that the product worked. And that's why we did that 44 patient clinical outcome study. And what we found there is that the majority of patients felt they were more comfortable when they were on the Immersus mattress. They had reduced incidence of pain when they were on the mattress, which is really important. We had 35 pre-existing wounds at the beginning of the study, of which 78% of those either healed or improved during the study period. And that really speaks volumes about the fact that we were able to address that ergonomic offloading design. We also had a bunch of frequent fallers in the study group, and nobody fell. They all ceased falling when they were using the Immersus mattress. And that study was done between 2 locations with 44 patients, one of which was the Hospice of Dayton in Ohio, and also the VA Rehab Center in Ohio as well. So 2 fairly prestigious buildings there that took part in that clinical outcome study. Now, obviously, this is way more than a Group 1 mattress, and we were actually able to get Group 2 status for this with reimbursement code EO373. And for those of you who know about Group 2 and Group 1 products, this is an advanced non-powered pressure-reducing mattress, which is still classified as Group 2. That's a huge benefit for you because it means you don't have a system that has a pump. Now, if you're putting mattresses out with patients who need a Group 2 product out in the community, but they don't have a reliable power source, maybe you're in the Midwest where you're going to get a lot of storms or crop dusters breaking high tension lines, all sorts of stuff, right? Snowstorms in the winter. Maybe you're on the East Coast, you're getting hurricanes and things coming through, snowstorms. You've got to have a stable power supply in order to use a powered product. This is a device which you can place underneath those high need patients that qualify for a Group 2 product without a pump. So it really is a great benefit. But then also, because of the way of the construction there with the edges and so forth to help prevent falling, this is a perfect product for Alzheimer's or patients who wander a lot, get in and out of bed by themselves a lot during the night. So when you think about institutions that you serve, think about the needs of those patients and how the features of this product can really help to meet those needs. And if you're in the hospice business, this product was really tested and validated with hospice patients for that clinical outcome study. And that's why we think this is really so important to consider as a non-powered alternative in the hospice environment to help make those last few days and weeks a better experience for the patient and also for the family as well. Now, obviously, there are times when you will want an alternating system. And so what we did was we took the clinically validated design of our Immersus mattress and we modified it slightly. We kept a lot of those clinically validated features like the topper, the edges, etc., the heel section. And we took out the T-zone and we put in a bank of very, very special air cells. These are called SAT cells. And these cells actually contain a special polymer scaffold inside to help keep them inflated, self-inflate. And they will self-adjust because of a network of interconnected valves to the patient's body mass index and position on the mattress. It's a Group 2 product because you can also snap on a pump and make this into an alternating system if you want to, with a timed up and down alternating cycle. So it's a Group 2 product which has the same patient criteria, same LCD as the Immersus Group 2 EO373 does as well. So this is a great option if you have somebody who needs that alternating therapy. But the nice thing about it is if you're also in an area where you have an unstable power supply or they can't tolerate alternating pressure, you can now disconnect that pump and the mattress will go back into self-adjusting therapy mode. So how does self-adjusting therapy mode really work? Well, it works on the basis of Boyle's law. And if you can cast your mind back to when you did physics at high school, Boyle's law was all about the fact that when a volume of air increases, the pressure decreases. So it's kind of inversely proportional to how you think it would work. So what we're trying to do with these SAT cells is not to let them deflate so they're flat. We want them to maintain the right level of air inside them to make sure that we've got the lowest possible pressure underneath the patient. Now, I can probably better describe that to you by means of a video that we put together here. So I'm going to run this video for you. Take a look at this. I think it's going to help to describe how our cells work versus what may be in a lot of the other products out there that are on the market as well. Here you go.
All right, so here is standard technology that's out in the marketplace today. It's basically a foam mattress that can be used in a convertible style for alternating pressure. But when there's no alternating pressure being applied to this product, it's purely a foam mattress that's being used by the patient. So when I push down on this, all the air escapes out of the cylinders. And as you can see, when I take a little pressure off, there's no air in there. It's just a deflated cylinder with the foam supporting the patient, which is fine, but it's just foam. It cannot displace a body over top of the surface. When we use true SAT technology, you have a one-way valve regulating the air pressure going out of the cylinder. And as I compress on this, I cannot flatten it because we're trapping the internal pressure inside the cylinders. And then when it gets to the proper internal pressure, the valve will shut down and maintain air pressure, as you can see in this bladder. It's not flat. There's air in here. It's the air that we want to support the patient. That's why this is rolling around like a ball. And when I let go of it, it'll reinflate itself. And that happens time and time again with our product. One of the reasons our product doesn't really wear out is because the air is the predominant supporting element. In the other products, the foam is the dominant supporting element because that's all they have to support the patient. Hopefully this was helpful.
So guys, I hope that was a helpful video for you, but it really helps to explain how the Immersus can really be a much more superior product out there for those group 2 patients. But now you really have a choice. And as far as reimbursement goes, EO373 and EO277, very, very close in terms of the dollar amount, depending on the jurisdiction that you're in, obviously. But check that out. I think you'll find there's probably only about $15 to $20 difference in most cases per month on those 12-month cap rentals. Heather, we're not finished yet. I need to go over seating, but have we got any questions at this point?
The one question that I have is, do we purchase directly from you?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Well, no, yes, you are the dealers. You are the dealers, so we sell to you as a VGM member. You are a dealer of ours. So yes, you'll buy that product from us and then provide it to your customer.
And then another question was, when do you want the SAT cells versus the non-powered? But you answered that, so thank you.
Okay, yep, sure. Same clinical LCD for both of them. But if you've got those patients that can't tolerate movement, you can just use the mattress by itself without the pump, or you can choose to go for the more cost-effective Immersus, which is, as you can see from the clinical evidence, is going to work for that patient. Okay, so let's move on really to seating real quick before we wrap up. We okay for time here, Heather?
Yeah, you bet. We are. Thanks.
Okay, good. So just to run over the seating real quick, and our seating products really fall into 2 groups. All foam design of different types of foam put together in special design. And we also have on the right-hand side, the Immersus seat cushion as well, which comes in 2 different types, which we'll talk about as well. But I think it's safe to say that, because we have a clinically validated product design, our posture made, that design element carries through all of our designs so that you've got the benefit of using that clinically evidence product design, that ergonomic product design. But for the most part, with the customers that you serve, most of your products are really going to be sort of 80% of your product needs are going to fall with these three products. We like to refer to them as just our positioning, our Immersus positional seating line. And so you really have this kind of low, medium, high acuity scenario where you've got the pressure mate as a low acuity kind of entry level product, just a day-to-day cushion, meets that E2601 code, available in a bunch of different sizes. Actually, it says 16, 18, 20, but we do 16, 18, 20, 20, and 22 as well. And this is a cushion which, for example, rehab departments will buy this all day long, give one to each of their patients going through the department. They'll end up taking it home with them. It's a really nice product because we use the same kind of fabric that we use on the Immersus and Immersus mattresses. So it's high quality, high end fabric. It's just that it's black instead of blue. And you've got a design inside there, which really is an ergonomic offloading design. We've got a softer rear, a firmer front. So we're offloading the weight from the ischials and the coccyx onto the long bones of the thighs. This is the basis of our clinically evidenced seating design. Same thing with the PostureMate V. The PostureMate V is a medium acuity product, but this is a seat and back combination. Now, for those of you who are putting product out there for rental wheelchairs, for Medicare recipients, this is a great product to add on to that because every general purpose wheelchair patient who qualifies for a general purpose wheelchair automatically qualifies for a seat and back cushion. And if you use the seat and back cushion reimbursement codes, 2601, 2611, and 2602, 2612 for the larger sizes, the overall reimbursement for that is really quite substantial because the back code carries a lot of dollars to it. So if you're not putting a general seat and back out on your rental wheelchairs, absolutely you need to do that, your general purpose wheelchairs. Take a look at that, and obviously you can ask any of us for more information on that, how you do that after this presentation. And then we have upper level to medium and high acuity, the Immersus cushion, right? Now, the nice thing about the Immersus cushion is this is the same reimbursement code as some of the other high-end air cushions that you guys are probably used to using. This is a product which, for those of you who are tuning in, who do CRT, absolutely, you can consider this for your patients. The good thing about this is you don't need a pump. So a lot of times when you have an air cushion, sometimes they need a pump. And you've got to maintain the pressure in that product because it has more of a kind of bicycle tire valve setup. The problem there is that sometimes those pressures can leak out and you have to maintain it. And when you need to do that, where's the pump? It's something you see all the time. We see this in nursing homes, patients sitting on flat cushions because no one can find the pump. The Immersus uses the same cell technology that we have in our mattress and actually keeps that cushion self-inflated. You can lock off the valves and let the air out where you want it to come out. So if you have a patient who's got that, pelvic obliquity, you can adjust it for that manually. You can create more dump in the back by letting the pressure out of that, what we call the home plate, that third zone at the back. And our valves do not leak air. They do not allow air to come out. So once you've let the air out, you set the valve shut, and that's it. You don't have to worry about it again. So no more adjustment, no more having to worry about finding a pump because you don't need a pump. And if you want to change the pressure, you just open up the valves. When the patient's off the cushion, it will come back up to full pressure because of that polymer scaffold inside, and then you can lock the valves off and start the whole process over again. So a manually adjustable 3-zone seat cushion with that E2622 2623 code, which is one of the highest paying seating codes, obviously. Obviously this is great for wheelchair users, that postural asymmetry, pelvic obliquity, posterior tilt. It's good for stroke patients because if they've had a stroke and they've got a left-sided or right-sided weakness, you can adjust it and make them more upright for their activities of daily living. So it really is something great for you to consider for those kind of situations. But we also have an automatic version of this cushion, the self-adjusting 3-zone Immersus seat cushion, which has the same kind of valves that we saw in the video there and in the information about the Immersus mattress. So those valves in this case are specially designed to work in a cushion. And when the patient sits on this cushion, the actual cushion, depending on their body mass index, their weight and shape, and their position on the mattress, on the cushion, so if they're sitting upright or if they're tilted or reclined, it's going to adjust the pressure underneath them automatically to make sure that we're getting enough air in there and enough immersion to create that high surface area to volume ratio, the sort of immersion that we need underneath them to help reduce the pressure and redistribute pressure. So this is definitely something which could be very useful for you if you're doing complex rehab. If you've got somebody with, say, ALS who's in the chair, you know how difficult it can be to go in and actually adjust a cushion when somebody's in the chair. With this, when they get into the chair at the beginning of the day, it's going to adjust. When they are put back into their bed at night, it will reinflate itself to the original pressure, and they get back the next day, it's going to repeat the whole process over again. So you never have to worry about getting the right settings with this cushion. Guys, any questions about cushions before we kind of wrap up here?
I do not see any questions about cushions, but I do have a question.
Yeah.
Would it be okay if our audience received a copy of this presentation? Would you be
Absolutely.
okay with that? Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect.
I think also, Heather, you're recording this, right? So they can go back
Yes,
and see this as well on your portal, right?
right. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, good. Guys, just to wrap up then, we manufacture here in the US. We've got a couple of locations. We keep all of our products in stock at all times. We do a bunch of different sizes of mattresses to fit just about any bed that you can think of out there. And we keep them in stock for quick delivery. So whether you're doing Medicare reimbursement with our Group 1 and Group 2 products, whether you're renting product out to nursing homes, whether you're doing cash sales or storefront sales, wound care, hospice, we've got the products that you need quickly available. If you're doing CRT, we've got high-end cushions for you. If you're selling cushions into rehab centers, we've got those low-end everyday cushions, but they're higher quality, better products for better outcomes. Guys, thank you very much.
All right, just a reminder, put any of your questions in the questions box, the questions tab, and we'll just wait here for a few seconds to see if we're having any more questions. But that was really great information. I love it. I love how you addressed the ATPs and how they can help their patients out there. And then also just the reimbursement information, the value based care, because we're going so, I mean, that's the wave, that's where we're going here. And this is a great way to be a wonderful partner to your referral sources, is using these quality products. So thank you, James. Just great information.
Heather,
Um,
can I just add something very quickly?
yeah, go.
Um,
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
we just want to thank everyone here, and we can actually help you with webinars directly with your customers. And what we do is we would put your logo on the actual Zoom or what have you, and we would present for you for the day. We also have literature where we can put your actual company on the literature. So we provide a much more unique, kind of a boutique type of manufacturing experience. We can help you sell more, create a unique support surface story with Immersus Health products. Thank you so much for everything today, and we're here for you. Just reach out.
Thanks so much, Brian. Thanks for your partnership. And James, Brian, and Matt, thank you so much. Thanks to all the VGM members that were attending today. We will send you out the recording and a copy of the presentation. So, and again, if you need to go back and look at anything, this will be housed on the VGM Wound Care portal. So thank you. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. We value your partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.